One of the hardest and most daunting parts in building an MMO is the server architecture, as it needs to be able to scale to handle thousands and thousands of concurrent players. So today, I'll be showing you just that, how I go from building out a single server locally on my computer to being able to boot up hundreds of servers in different regions, supporting thousands of players with a single click. Then, I'll be showing you how I implemented a bunch of different GM commands to be able to help stress test these servers to get an idea for things like server specs, max player per server, things like that. I even threw in some fun GM commands like flying and invisibility. If you know about WoW Classic GMs from back in the day, you'll appreciate it. So let's jump into it. How are we going to support thousands of concurrent players? First, we need to switch to our Linux server build profile in Unity. We choose Linux because this is what most cloud environments use, and you get the most for your money. This build profile allows us to build out a headless dedicated server. This basically means that the server runs without any graphics, no rendering, no visuals, just pure server logic. Next, I need a way to package this server so I can run it anywhere. That's where Docker comes in. We create a Docker image that contains my server build and everything else it needs to run. This is all defined in a Docker file. Now, we move to AWS. We need to push our Docker image to ECR, or Amazon's Elastic Container Registry. This is basically just storage for Docker images. Then we use ECS, Elastic Container Service, to actually run these servers. ECS lets us define a task, which is basically to run a container, and it will handle all of the infrastructure for you. Now, we can spin up servers in the cloud. But I want to take it one step further. I want to be able to automate it. So we'll write a Lambda function to be able to launch as many of these ECS tasks as we want, and keep track of all of them in DynamoDB. Now, whenever we need more servers, we can just call this function. So for example, here, we're going to boot up 3 servers in the region US East 2. And about a minute later, you can see that we now have 3 new worlds show up in-game. And you can see that they're all in the US by the flag. One of the coolest parts is, I can see everything happening in real time. Each server, each container has its own metrics, so you can monitor CPU usage, memory, bandwidth, etc. Now, during stress tests and play tests, I can monitor performance and know exactly what's going on. Although most of the data around server capacity, like how many players each server can handle, will come from playtesting, I also added some GM commands to help with early testing. First, I added a command to spawn simulated players. They behave like real clients, constantly sending inputs. This obviously isn't perfect, but it can help give us an early idea of server capacity. I have the ability to spawn as many as I want with one command, but then they would all be stacked on top of each other and it wouldn't look as cool for the video. You can also spawn mobs. I implemented a system to make them be able to attack each other based on their faction. I think this could make the world feel more alive, seeing different types of mobs attacking each other in the open world. These are mostly just for fun, but I also added GM commands for things like invisibility and flying, because sometimes you just gotta mess around a little bit. That's pretty much it for this one. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Make sure to go wishlist Mistwilds on Steam, and join the Discord for future playtesting. Peace.